Hi, welcome to Just Common Sense. How you guys doing? I got Jerry on the line again tonight. So we're going to be talking about what's new, Ukraine, Russia, the whole mess that's going on. We're going to talk about Biden again, what he is not doing, what he should be doing, and he's not listening to anybody. So again, we'll talk about that. Jerry, as always, say hi.
Hi, what's up?
There you go. All right. So as we know, President Zelensky spoke today, the Ukrainian president. He spoke for a while. They showed a video. They showed the tragedies, what's going on over there. You got to see how Ukraine looked before and how it looks now, and you got to see it's graphic. Bodies on the street. They painted around it was like a dome. I'm not sure what it was, maybe a sports dome or something, and they said children are here. Children are here. And they had it on both sides in big, bold writing. The Russians bombed it. They didn't care.
And it was written in Russian.
Yes. And it was written in Russian, of course. And they bombed it. So what Putin's doing, he couldn't get the accomplishment he wanted done. He wanted to go in there. He thought the Ukrainian people were going to go, we love you. We want to be back part of Russia. Well, guess what? It didn't happen. And then he thought he could take it over. And guess what? That's not happening because he realizes now that he's backed into a corner and he's now doing what's called scorched earth or scorch the country, basically. If he can't get it one way, he'll just kill everybody in it. That's genocide. And what is the European nations doing about it? Nothing. Not one damn thing. And I'm going to say it that way. I'm frustrated with this. We're all getting frustrated with this. What is our country doing here? Nothing. I know when I said that, a lot of you just said, well, they're giving him weapons and stuff today. That's not all he's asking for. He is asking for MiGs. They've got pilots. They know how to fly those MiGs. That's all they're asking for. And Poland was going to give them the MiGs, except for Joe Biden stopped it. A lot of people up there right now on both sides are saying, why don't we give them MiGs? What is Joe Biden hiding? What is he hiding? And then my next question is, why did Putin go after Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Hunter Biden? And who else was it, Jerry? Anybody else in that list about sanctions he did? There's a
Hillary,
variety of
Joe
them.
Biden, Hunter Biden. Yeah, I forgot, who the other ones are. Those are the three main ones.
Right, those are the three main ones. What are they hiding? They've done dealings with.
You and I have talked about
yeah,
this, that they're, with all the
yeah,
business dealings that have taken place
yeah,
between the Biden family and people in Ukraine,
yeah.
it would not surprise me to find out that, Biden is like, hey, you know what? Hopefully Ukraine falls, and then that way all the records disappear, and he can never be held accountable, and neither can his son.
Right.
And I just got to say, I hate to feel that way about a United States president, but this guy has proven to be so corrupt and so dishonest that I couldn't discount that and say that it's not true. I mean, it's very likely that there's some truth to that.
Actually, Hannity said that tonight on the news. I heard him say it. Said you can't trust this guy. It's pretty bad when we're in a country where we can't even trust this guy at all, and his administration. They're a bunch of liars.
At least with Obama, I was able to say, well, I don't like this guy, and I think he's not very competent. But there was one or two things that I was like, he did okay there, or he did okay there. I mean, there was nothing that I loved that he did, but there was a few things that he did okay. I can't think of any one thing that Biden's done that I can say, that's not too bad.
Right. I can't come up with anything that he's done at all.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
You want a list? I could sit here and name a list. I could probably, it'll take me an hour to go over the things he has not accomplished and actually what he has done to hurt the country and the world.
Well, and you could also spend a large amount of time there, in that thing you're talking about, just uncovering his lies. I mean, just flat out lies. A lot of times people would accuse Donald Trump of lying. But with Joe Biden, I mean, they're actual lies. Like when he talks about, how, he, got the vaccine going. No, Trump got the vaccine going.
Right.
And how, he has no control over gas prices. But then he turns around and says that Putin's driving the price of oil up. Well, wait a minute. If a president can't have any control over gas prices, how can you point at the president of Russia,
Yeah.
and say he does? It's just that, I mean, the he's a flat out liar. And,
Right.
I mean, his little stories over time
So,
about
yeah.
corn pop and,
Yeah.
and going and getting arrested in South Africa when he never was. And it's like, I mean, he's a serial liar.
Yeah. So, I saw today, I'm going to say it. I actually was watching the president of Ukraine and how sincere he was. And then I got to watch Congress and all. They were in this auditorium. And first of all, you get Nancy Pelosi. I watched her. I watched her body language. I watched how she got up before the Ukrainian president was there. She's standing in front of the auditorium, not talking to anybody. She's just standing up, pretty much saying, look who I am. I'm here. It's all about me. That's what I felt when I saw her today. She went up there. She announced the Ukrainian president. He came on. He spoke. And then he spoke in English at the end of it. Okay? And he was mainly calling us, or calling on Joe Biden to lead the world. It goes back to when the United States is pretty much the free leader of the world. And that's what everybody used to look at. They used to look at us like a beacon of hope. That's why everybody wanted to be here. That's why we have all these illegals jumping across down in Mexico right now trying to get up here. I'm telling you.
Well,
people are changing their mind.
On top of that, it's not just illegals coming across the border now. Now that our border's wide open, I was even reading the other day about Russians coming across.
I heard about it.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to claim asylum here because they don't believe in the war.
Right.
So what they're doing is they're flying to Mexico and then they're buying an inexpensive car so they can get across the border, and then they're just crossing the border to get into the United States and claim asylum.
Yeah.
And, so that's people that are coming across in the broad daylight, in the open. Right. I mean, it's like, so how many people from other countries are sneaking across, that are coming here that are bad actors from countries that wish us ill will?
Yeah. I know. We've had this conversation. It feels like we keep going over this conversation over and over, but no one out there seems to get it on the left, a lot of them. Some are, finally. Some are. But I keep watching. When I watch the White House briefings and I get to see the videos and stuff of what everybody's commenting, when I first started watching it, it was amazing. I just watched it. And you saw so many people on Biden's webpage. They joined him on his Facebook webpage, Twitter, whatever the case may be. And I got to watch the comments. Like, you're the best. You're this. You're this. A few bad ones in there, like people going, you stole the election, Trump. I'm over that. I can't, it's something we can do right now about that. But, and I get that. But the point is, now that I'm seeing things turn, I'm seeing a lot of people going, lower gas prices, help Ukraine, do this. And Joe Biden doesn't even listen to that. Of course, he's not listening to anything. He's doing what he's told to do. And he can't even make a speech without getting help to say, what am I supposed to say? Does he really have an earpiece? Does he have something?
If I say that, I'll get in trouble.
Right.
From who? You're the president, dude.
Well, apparently
who
not.
Get in trouble with?
Apparently not.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to what is being covered up. Is there something being covered up? Is that why we're not doing? Look, they've had dealings. When you talk about the three people that I mentioned, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Hillary Clinton, we'll just go with those three. They've had dealings with China. They've had dealings with Russia. They have dealings with Ukraine. Lots of dealings. A lot. And yet they're the bold ones to sit here and say Trump had collusion with the whole thing, which was a lie. It's been proven. A lie. I just, I'm disgusted. I wake up every morning and I hear more news about what's going on in our own country and around the world and what's not being done.
Well, we've got a coward in the White House that, basically is refusing to help a country that America had told that they would help if something happened.
Yeah.
And, here's a guy that likes to talk big, Putin's afraid of me and he won't step out of line if I'm president. And, Trump's a bully and boy, I'd like to take him out behind the gym. And, I went out in the parking lot and I confronted Corn Pop with a chain in my hand. here's a guy that talks awful big, and then he can't even actually act when he's called to act. And it's like, and he just sits back and he's a coward. The guy's a coward.
It's true. It's very true. And then again, we could talk about Harris. Harris, I sent a segment out last night. And, I could actually play that segment too, because I've got it right here, guys. And, it's pretty bad. I shot this over to a couple friends last night to listen to this. I'm going to play these 2 segments, Jerry. So give me a second to play these 2. You heard them last night. Harris was speaking. Let's just hear what she says, guys. You got to hear this. If I get the play.
I will say what I know we all say, and I will say over and over again. The United States stands firmly with the Ukrainian people in defense of the NATO alliance.
Now, she said the United States firmly stands with Ukraine, going with the NATO alliance. Well, did she just say Ukraine is part of NATO? Did you get anything out of that, Jerry, when you heard it?
It's what it sounded like she said.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah.
As you know, I've done a lot of public speaking, over the years.
Yeah.
And when I say something that is, either potentially able to be misunderstood,
right,
or something that, may be incorrect, I make a clarifying statement.
Right.
See, here's my concern with her. I don't think she realizes she made a mistake.
No.
I think she's really that ignorant. And, because if she made a mistake, she could come back and go, well, what I mean is, as NATO, that even though Ukraine's not in NATO, we should stand behind it. But she didn't even do that. She, there was no clarification. It was just, I really don't think she knows what's going on. But then again,
right,
as you and I have discussed, that I think there's a lot of people in this administration that have no idea what's going on.
Right.
This guy, Antony Blinken, the Secretary of Defense, he has no idea what he's doing. Or Secretary, not Defense, but Secretary of State. I mean, he has no idea. And you can see it in his face when he's on TV, when he's being interviewed. He's like, holy cow, I am in over my head and I don't know what to do. And, the guy's way out of his league and he has no idea. I mean, Mike Pompeo ate this guy's lunch, man. I mean, Mike Pompeo is one of the best secretaries of state that we've ever had in this country. I'd put him up there with Henry Kissinger. And, he was fantastic.
Right.
And, so to go from him to Antony Blinken is like, going from Ruth Chris Steakhouse to, McDonald's.
Right. So,
I mean,
I want to say something. My wife and I spoke about her today when it comes to our vice president. And my wife listened to that, and my wife is not a fan of hers. But my wife said it seems when she gets cornered and she doesn't know what she's saying is when she starts fumbling really bad on things such as that, or she goes into laughter, and she does a variety of things like that because she's like trying to find something else. She's in her head. She's going, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Okay, I'll laugh. Or I'll just try to say something and fumble it.
Well, people think if they laugh things away that, people will just forget what the question was, or they won't press the issue or something. Oh, this person's friendly. I'll let them off the hook. You know?
It's not working because you're a vice president of the United States. You are not just some person that makes mistakes. Look, I made a mistake about a week ago on the show right here, and I went and said 900 barrels, and Jerry actually called me out on it, and he's right. And it should have said 900,000 barrels of oil instead of 900. And I actually had it written down in front of me, too, and I made that mistake, and I didn't clarify it. But it happens to all of us occasionally. But continuously happen with her, Joe Biden, people that are way up there in authority.
Yeah, but see, that's another thing, too. Like you said, it happens once in a while with most of us. For her, it happens all the time.
Yeah, same with Joe.
And I think part of her nervous demeanor and her fumbling and bumbling is coming from the fact that these people practice what they're going to say. And they will sit there in a room full of people and they'll say, okay, let's go over this. And different people in the room will sit there and pretend to be reporters. And so they go over what they think are all the possible questions that might be asked. Well, when she gets something that's off the script, she doesn't know how to handle it.
Not at all.
Something else that, I've said in the past, and I'll reiterate it, is you have to remember she's a person who slept her way to where she is. She's not somebody that was such an outstanding person that, she just, blew away her competition. Sorry to use that phrase. But it's like, it's not like she's such an outstanding intellect that, this is a natural position for her. Yeah. And when I say she slept her way to where she is, she literally did.
Okay.
And it's like,
Yeah. No, and I've heard of it, all that too. I want to play another segment.
But she doesn't even dispute that.
Oh, I know.
It's not even like she comes out and says, well, she just ignores it because she knows it's true. That's what's even worse,
Yeah, I do want to play a segment from Nancy Pelosi too that was said, and this maybe a little longer, but I want you guys to hear how she's fumbling. And she's defending Ukraine, which shocks me on some of the things she said even last week. One of the things I agreed on, I'm like, oh my gosh. But when you start listening to her, it's embarrassing. Hold on.
Bake the trap so that we go in, and that's could be the beginning of World War III. Putin totally irresponsible using weapons that are not allowed under the Geneva Convention. Putin, who threatens use of chemical weapons, nuclear, and the rest. So they know that we can't, but it's the ask. Now, he was this morning if we can't have a no-fly zone, let us have our own, and we need the airplanes to come in. This morning he was less on the ask for the policy, more on let us do it, help us get the planes. But also there is a school of thought that thinks the anti-aircraft missiles and the rest are a very important way. Myself, when I see those tanks, that 40 miles of tanks, I'd like to take out those tanks. I think that them having more planes might be useful.
So, Nancy Pelosi said in there, she said she would like to take out those tanks. She actually agreed to have planes go in there. Now, was she saying, does she want to give Ukraine MiGs, or does she want a no-fly zone? In my opinion, she's probably just saying she wants to give them MiGs. Of all people, Nancy Pelosi, and you could hear how she's stuttering and skipping all over the place. She really is. And, part of that I'm going to say has got to do with her age. She is 81 years old, and I've always said after a certain age, a lot of people, not all, have problems. My own father said that. It's just the way it is. It's part of life. But of all people, and then Joe Biden still not listening. Why? Why? What is being covered up? It's a question mark I have. What's your thoughts on that, Jerry?
Well, first off, yes, Nancy Pelosi is in her 80s. And, I personally think that nobody should be around government as long as she's been around government. But I've got to tell you, the classic symptoms of what she's displaying is some sort of substance abuse, whether it be medication, whether it be alcohol. She gets up half the time and you watch her in the background of the State of the Unions and she's like sucking on her teeth and, all of these things are classic physical tells of some sort of chemical dependence, whether it be alcohol or prescription drugs or something like that. She doesn't need to use illegal drugs because she's so connected. She can get all the prescription drugs that she wants with no problem. But as far as her talking about the no-fly zone, right? She actually agreed to the fact that the MiGs a couple of weeks ago, that the MiGs should go to Ukrainians from Poland.
Yep.
And that was before Biden came out and said no. So I think, I don't know what's in her mind, as far as, what she thinks, but I think that her belief is that those planes need to go to the Ukrainians to give them a fair chance at defending themselves.
Right.
And, she now has to kind of be careful about what she says, because I'm pretty sure, because you and I talked about that the other night, I'm pretty sure that after she said that, she got a pretty nasty phone call from the Biden office. Hey, what are you doing? I just said that we shouldn't have this, and now you're saying we should. Yeah. So I think that her and her people believe what's right, and it's unconscionable what Biden's doing, slow walking all this stuff. And today I watched his press conference, and he got up there and was metaphorically beating his chest about all the weapons that he's sending, and I'm sending this kind of missile and this kind of rocket and this kind of anti-aircraft missile and everything like that. And he sat there and bragged about all the stuff he's sending. Well, the reason he's not sending the jets through Poland, and they're not even ours to send, he's just blocking it. But the reason that he doesn't want those jets to go from Poland to the Ukraine is he says that it might escalate things. Well, you don't think that sending anti-aircraft missiles and anti-tank rockets and tens of thousands of sets of body armor for the soldiers and tens of thousands of rifles and hundreds of machine guns, you don't think that's escalating things? Joe, I know you're not all there, but come on, even you should be able to recognize the hypocrisy there.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you. On the other side of that, this should not have even been said today. They should have just said, yes, we're handling it, and Jerry's going to talk about why it was said, which he just kind of did. But what a real president would have done is told to the press, look, we're handling it. We're sending aid. We're sending weapons. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know how many, where they're going.
Because once you tell them what you're sending, now they know what to look for.
Right, and they know how many.
Yeah, they know how many. They know what to look for, and plus the other
where
thing
they're
is,
going.
The kind of stuff that we're sending, must all be used near any kind of a frontline area. So now they know that everything has to go. So now instead of looking for some big cargo ship in a port or some big transport plane or something like that, they can target smaller trucks and trains and things like that might be carrying this, because and they can say, well, you know what, we're sorry that there was 200 civilians on that train, but we had information that was the weapons the United States sent, so we had to blow the train up. And so now we're complicit in that. And it's just this guy is just a walking mistake. And he did that all through his campaign, made all kinds of verbal gaffes. And the guy, here's the irony: Ukraine has a president who's a comedian. And what is it that comedians do, Brian?
Make everybody laugh.
Yeah, but they make everybody laugh by telling
jokes.
Exactly. So they have a president that's a comedian. We have a president that's a joke. And it's like,
that's what he should have said today.
Yeah, it really. But if you think about that, it's like, but it's true. The guy, he has a hard time putting together cogent sentences a lot of times.
Yeah.
He loses his temper to the press.
Yeah, I saw him do it today, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and when I say he loses his temper, he doesn't lose his temper because they're lying or they're incorrect.
Right.
He loses his temper because they're on the money and he doesn't like it.
No, and he's pounding on the desk. Going bang like this. So I want to say this. I was going into this earlier. I saw pictures of the president of Ukraine. What's he doing? Fighting on the front lines. He was in a T-shirt today, by the way, because guess what? He's fighting. He doesn't care about the tie and dressing up and all that right now. He is fighting for himself, fighting for his people, and fighting for, obviously, the country. And he's doing the right thing. Where Biden sits there and doesn't really do anything for him. Now, but I want to go into this. I saw photos of this guy, and I sent this stuff to Jerry and stuff today, but of this president in hospitals, visiting people in hospitals, handing out medals and stuff, and doing things like that, and then going right back and fighting along the side of his people. That is a true president. That is presidential. That is very presidential. You know what we got? We got a guy who gets angry, and you see him. You can go in there and look at videos of this guy when they're asking him. He just looks down at the desk, holding and clenching his fist. He does. And two things. He's either angry or he's trying to get his thoughts of what to say because he can't get his thoughts out right. He just can't come up with something that makes
how about
any
a week
sense.
Ago or so when he was out there talking and a reporter asked him a question?
Yeah.
And he started to try and answer it. And his wife walked over and grabbed him by the arm to say, no, let's go. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, you're the president of the United States, my friend. And it's like, if your wife has to come bail you out of a question because you're unprepared and incapable of answering it, then maybe she should be the president.
Yeah. You should be able to answer questions like that.
I mean, look at Trump, man. Trump used to tick people off, not the people asking the questions. The reason he would tick people off is because he would have a schedule to keep, and he would walk out of the White House and he'd be headed for his motorcade or his helicopter or something like that, and somebody would ask him a question. He would stop and answer it, and they'd ask him another one. He'd stop and answer it, and he'd stand out there for 30, 40, 45 minutes, an hour, answer questions.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, all the plans are pushed back because he stood there and answered. But he answered the questions.
Right. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it too. It wasn't just Trump. Yeah, he's great. I thought he was a fantastic president. He had good policies. There were some things I didn't like about him, but that's any person, any president. Now, when you go into Obama, Jerry and I've talked about, there's some things that we kind of liked and a lot I didn't like. But you go into Clinton even. You go into a variety of presidents. I'll go to the left. They would at least stand out there and ask questions, and they can get them out like that. And maybe some of them were lies. But again, they were going out there and talking to the press and answering questions right there on the spot. Not having to be pulled away, not having to say, well, they're not going to like it if I say this. What is this about? Who is running this country? Because the hell is not Joe Biden.
Oh, agreed.
It's not Kamala Harris at all. So, I'm going to say this too about Kamala Harris. She might be good in a small, tiny little town, maybe in city council or something like that. That's it.
I don't even see that.
I'm just saying it might.
She really displays no leadership skills whatsoever.
I know. I'm giving her something. I'm trying. That's as far as I can get. And it's got nothing.
She's female and she's black. And those are the two things that, have got her. Because Joe Biden said, I'm going to have a running mate that is a woman of color. Yeah. Okay. And that's her only reason for being there.
Yeah. And I want to say this. I told my wife this today. We were talking about her. And I said, I don't care if we had a president of the United States who's black, who's female. I don't care if they're purple, green, whatever the case may be, because I'm not racist. It's a person doing their job. I don't care who they are, as long as they're doing the job right. We may not all agree with it. And we may not all agree with what's going on right now, because I still see some people on the left going, Joe Biden's the greatest thing walking. I mean, they're blind, they're sheep.
But you know what? When you ask those people what he's done that makes him so great, they can't tell you because they don't know.
No, they don't know.
Because he hasn't done anything.
No, they only look at the party. They're that stupid. They look at the party and say, oh, my God, he's on the left. I've got to go with this because he's on the left. Look, there's people on the right I don't like. I'm going to say it. There are. But,
Mitch McConnell, Mitt Romney.
Yeah, I've said it before.
Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney.
Liz Cheney,
there's a few.
Don't even get me going on Liz Cheney. She's all over the place. But
I got to tell you though, she impressed me, man. She came out and said that we need to be giving these fighter jets to the Ukrainians. So, man, I got to tell you, I'm impressed with that.
I hate to say
now she's a woman without a country because she has burned her bridges with the Republicans, and now she's going out against what the president is saying. Yeah. So,
but I mean, gotta look at all this. It's absolutely crazy what's going on with all this. But anyway, okay, guys. Well, I felt like we're having this conversation over and over and over and over again, and it's always the same thing. But what else is there to talk about? We got gas prices right now at a high rate. Now, I do want to talk about this real quick on gas. I heard price of gas did go down a little bit on some barrels of gas. Okay. Now, still Joe Biden's fault. But I want you guys to be aware that if gas prices do drop and you're saying, well, it just went down a little bit on the barrel, why is it not at the pumps? Think about this, guys. these gas stations, these truck drivers, all that deliver the gas, when you get to the gas stations, they had to buy the gas at a higher price until all that runs out. They got to still sell it for the higher price because they had to pay for that. And then they'll start getting gas at a lower price. It takes time because of that, if you think about that logically.
Well, not only that, but Brian, let's look at something here too. When it comes to gas prices, people are saying, "Oh, gas prices went down." You know what? If I live next to a lake and the lake floods my house and puts 8 feet of water in my house and is doing all this damage, I don't brag about the water going down to 4 feet, but my house is still flooded.
Right.
Okay. And gas prices are still way higher than when Biden took office. So, that's like the analogy of my house being flooded. I mean, it's like, gas prices went down to $4.10. Wow, down to $4.10. They were under $2 when you took office, knucklehead. Yeah. They're sitting there trying to talk about, gas prices are down.
Right.
Yeah, they're down from the high that you got them to. Right. But they're still not where they need to be.
Not at all. And they need to open up. We've spoken about. They need to start the Keystone Pipeline, building that again. They need to
start drilling in our own territory.
Yeah, I've already heard they're going to start delivering more oil in the next couple months. But again, it's not enough.
Well, we don't even drill anymore in the Gulf of Mexico. We got China drilling in the Gulf of Mexico.
Glad you said that.
All right, which is right off of our coast.
Yep.
And it's like, but we're not. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Yep. Hold on, but I want to go into something. Jerry just made me think of something when he said that. So we're talking about Iran right now, too. We're talking about Joe Biden still trying to work this nuclear deal with Iran. We're still talking about trying to buy fuel from Iran. Well, let's think about that, guys. First of all, Iran's still shooting missiles. I mean, they're still doing crazy stuff right now, shooting missiles. That was our consulate over there or something. So they're doing that. And then on top of it, guess who's brokering this whole thing when it comes to the negotiations of, guess what? What are we talking about tonight? Of this nuclear deal. Guess who is negotiating this? Russia and China with the United States. Hello, how stupid is this? How stupid is this? What is he hiding? Is he this stupid? And I'm saying it that way. Something's not right because you don't negotiate with terrorists and you don't do business with terrorists. It puzzles me. It really does. It really puzzles me. And something's not right. What's your thoughts on that, Jerry?
I fully agree. I just, negotiating with an enemy, first off, is not something that I think is wise to do. So negotiating with Iran, we should be basically telling them, hey, look, you know what? Not only are we not going to lift the sanctions on you, but we're going to make them stronger if you pursue, what you're looking at pursuing. And
with China and Russia.
But then to not only negotiate with an enemy, which means negotiation means give and take, which means we're planning on giving something at some point.
Right.
And to then let two other of your enemies be the mediator of your negotiation. It's like, are you kidding me?
Right.
That's like if you got 3 kids you didn't like in high school and you're negotiating with one of them on, he wants to fight you, but you don't want to fight him.
Yeah.
But the negotiators are 2 other kids that want to beat you up.
Yeah.
Are you really? It boggles my mind the things that Joe Biden is doing. First off, allowing Iran back into this nuclear deal was a terrible idea. But then to be talking about the nuclear deal and buying oil from Iran and allowing the Russians and the Chinese to, facilitate the negotiation on the nuclear deal, it boggles my mind. It really does.
He's not just buying; he's begging them.
Yeah,
begging the Middle East, Venezuela, another one.
And by the way, with the Iran nuclear deal, for anybody out there that wants to go and look at it, in the beginning of the nuclear deal, they're not allowed to enrich uranium to weapons grade uranium. But that's only for a few years. It's after just a few years, that restriction falls off and they're allowed to enrich to weapons grade uranium. And on top of that, the nuclear program in Iran right now is already cheating. So don't kid yourself and think they're not producing weapons grade uranium already. And so, basically what they're doing is, they just want to do it at a point where they can, do it legally. And I forget what the time frame is, but it's only like 10 years before they're allowed to produce weapons grade, nuclear material.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that, here's what they do, because I'll tell you what they're probably doing, because it's what I would probably do.
Yeah.
Okay. They're probably producing the weapons grade nuclear material right now. Mm-hmm. And then in 8 years or 10 years or 12 years or 4 years or whatever it is that they're allowed to, they're just going to all of a sudden have a bunch and go, wow, we're ahead of schedule. Look how quickly we did that. And it's going to be stuff that they've been producing for years. But if we can't prove that, then, there's nothing we can do. And by the way, if we have a treaty with them, then there's nothing we can do anyways. And so if Biden signs a treaty, that's really borderline treason.
Why they're yelling death to America.
Yeah. And they're yelling death to America. And one of their stated goals is to wipe Israel off the map.
Right.
All right. Literally, that's one of their stated goals.
Absolutely it is.
And Israel is one of our, staunchest allies.
Yep.
So, so here it is. We're selling, or we're talking about an agreement with a country whose stated goal is the destruction of one of our allies. Why in the world? I mean, if I had somebody come to my front door and say that, they want to sell me a product that's going to destroy my next door neighbor's house, no, I'm not going to do that. As a matter of fact, get out of here before I call the cops,
Yeah.
But, now here they are. They're, they're working on a nuclear deal with Iran, whose stated goal is to wipe Israel off the map. And by the way, the only thing they have to do, it's a short distance from Iran to Israel.
Sure.
If you're going across Saudi Arabia. So a missile could easily get through Saudi Arabia and hit Israel and just make it a non-livable place, a nuclear missile.
Yeah.
And it might not actually destroy every building and every person, but it'll make it a place that nobody can live because of the radiation.
Right. I wonder if China or Russia's actually thinking of giving them a nuke. I don't know.
They have probably
talked about it,
given them more technology than
I don't know about
than we realize.
I hope they're not that stupid.
No, they are, because you got to remember the common enemy is us.
I know. I'm just saying how you would think.
And that's what happened with North Korea for years too. That they were getting leaked information on technology by China and by Russia, because North Korea's stated enemy is the U.S. via South Korea. So
and one last thing before we go, because we got to cut this show a little shorter. But one last thing, guys. Let's talk about when Obama and Biden first created this whole deal with the nuclear deal with Iran. That was a failure that fell apart very quick, and we gave them billions in cash.
For cash. Yeah.
It was literally, it got lifted by a train. There was so much. It was ridiculous. And then they're doing this again and going to give more? I mean, hello? I feel like going up to him and go, hello, McFly. Jeez. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Anything else on that, Jerry?
No. It's just very frustrating to watch what's going on and watch an incompetent president give a bad name to all of America, on a global stage.
Yeah.
I really am in disbelief at what a coward we have in the White House. And, I don't know, it saddens me.
I'm very sad about it as well. I'm glad my father is not here to see it, although he said this was going to happen with China and Russia and everybody else at that time. He already knew it, and I disagreed with him years ago, but I realized he was right. All right, guys, as always, want to thank our law enforcement for everything you guys are doing out there. I appreciate everything you do. Want to thank our military, especially right now, what's going on. Guys, we know a lot of you would like to see a lot more happen than what we're doing. We know it. We stand by our military. Guys, thank you for our farmers out there, our first responders, our truck drivers, by the way. Interesting for our truck drivers. I heard there were traffic jams all over D.C. and Maryland and stuff today. That's interesting because there were so many trucks on the road. They were driving, but they were just a lot of them, so slowed things down quite a bit. And now it's not just about freedom of choice. They're actually out there driving because they want gas produced in this country, which would make prices lower, make their job a whole lot easier because you're seeing it all over Facebook how much it costs to fill a truck up. A lot. I've seen $700 to $900 just for one tank of gas. It's absolutely crazy, or diesel in this case. But absolutely crazy. Absolutely nuts. And I see people now posting it all the time about gas. It took me this much to fill the gas. And I'm seeing stickers put all over the pumps right now. With Joe Biden, I did that, or other even worse words I've seen out there. And then, of course, now I'm hearing that gas stations are saying if you do that, that's vandalizing some of them out there. It's vandalizing their pump. Hey, I'm not getting into that. Whatever. That's all I'm going to say about it. But I'm seeing the stickers. I love the stickers. That's all I got to say. I know who does the stickers. Especially on these podcast channels.
Yes, I do.
Yep. Okay. Emission. All right. Well, as always. Oh, that was good. As always, we're going to do a sports segment real quick. Yes, Brady's not retiring. He's going back to Tampa Bay. That was wild to see that happen. I think that was a mistake. And I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, but
I'm not surprised, but I think it's a mistake too.
I think he should have just said, I'm not retiring, and just go on. Maybe he had some second thoughts. Then there was rumor he was going to join the 489ers. That was a whole nother thing. So I don't know, but now it's going to be Tampa Bay for another year. But anyway, we'll see how that goes, because I will see if I have to support him or not. I guess I do.
Yeah. Well, Brett Favre didn't do exactly the same thing, but he did a similar thing where he retired and then unretired, and
yeah, you can go to a lot of.
If you're not sure, just tell people you're not sure. Don't retire and then try and come back and everything like that. And it's like, if you're done, you're done. If you're not, tell them, hey, I'm not sure yet. I'll make a decision.
Isn't Collins not Collins? Who's the quarterback of Panthers now?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I haven't watched an NFL game in about 6 years.
I don't either. So, but it's fun to talk about. I don't watch the games.
All I know is what I
look at the score. I look at the scores.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
and I'm like, my team won. And that's so I go. I did watch a Super Bowl, though. I do watch that for the ads. Believe it or not, I did, and I did watch a halftime show this year, and almost puked when I saw it. Was disgusting the way that halftime show was, and a lot of people talked about it. All right, guys, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you soon, and I'm sure Jerry will be back on here soon, and God bless you. God bless America. Have a great night, and thanks for listening. Oh, and go to my website again. I almost forgot that. www.just-commonsense.com. Again, www.just-commonsense.com. Scroll down. Join my YouTube. Join my my podcast, please. Yeah, I told you I do mess up sometimes. And follow me on Apple. And see, I'm sounding like Biden. I'm making fun of it. Spotify and a lot of other things out there, guys. See you soon. Take care. God bless you. God bless everyone out there. And God bless Ukraine. And even some of the people in Russia. We talked about that. And do the right thing, guys. Focus on what your leader's doing in Russia. Maybe you can take over and throw him out of office. That's what I'll say about it. God bless you. Have a good night.